Se ci sono delle domande alzate bene la mano per favore, perché è veramente difficile vedervi con questa luce. Io vorrei cominciare con una domanda per Tony, ma forse la farò meglio farla in inglese. Do you want to wear your headphones for the translation, please? Tony, you want to wear headphones? No. Okay. So the first question is for you, and is why you thought that Vito could be an actor? Can you need the mic, please? On the side, on the side.
You're inside your chair. No, I don't have Okay. Yeah, that's a fantastic question, because that is the movie, that is the trainer, that is the personality, that is everything. You know, the day that Mr. Vito Schnabel walked into my house, both of our lives changed. Vito did not start that day planning to be an actor, I did start that day planning for him to be an actor, and so I was ahead of the game, and there was no question. Even before he walked in, I knew who Vito was. I tracked him a bit over the years, even before even before that we were formally introduced by Mr. Kirk Myers, the real Mr. Kirk Myers. And when I met him, of course, I made billions of TV commercials, a number in Italy, and wow, Rome is like, I'm so happy to be here. I feel so, so.
Thank you. Vito, do you want to speak in English or Italian? Okay. So, this movie required a really long process. It's many years you're working on it. So can you tell about your work during these years? Which was the sparkling, the very first idea, and how was the development of this project?
I started writing it 10 years ago in December, on December 28th, in Switzerland. And I had some time on my hands after I opened my gallery there. It's the 10-year anniversary this year, so I remember the date exactly. And I wrote about 90 pages over the course of 3 days, which was the story. And that turned into a 250-page outline. And then I kind of whittled it down into what the script is today with my writing partner, Jeff Solomon, who I met about a year after I started writing it. But the idea came from, I guess you write what you know, and I had always thought the fitness world was an interesting, kind of untapped environment that I thought was very funny and interesting and a big part of our culture, health and mental health. And Shampoo, King of Comedy, Tropic Thunder, Zoolander, those movies were important to me, and I love watching them. And I had an idea. It was kind of a case study on a specific type of character who I think everybody has come across in their life. Everybody has some version of a Jack Flex, I think, that crosses their path. And then I met Tony, and the script, it took so many different drafts and iterations, and then Tony, we did a kind of, not a gut renovation, but a pretty, he added, he tonified it, I don't know, he gave it something that I felt like it needed, and I didn't know what that thing was. But on my birthday, I called my mother. I was watching Heart of Darkness, the documentary on the making of Apocalypse Now, and I thought if Francis Ford Coppola could make Los Angeles about this kind of Don Quixote-esque character who's not riding in on his donkey, but riding in with his hat. And it's about perseverance and believing in your dreams, and even if nobody else does it, I don't know, try to stay true to yourself. But that's where it came from.
Ci sono delle domande? Allora, una domanda lì.
Hello, Tony. I'm here, yeah. What I found really interesting in the film is that, on a very bizarre way, it's a kind of allegory on who Achilles used to be. The main character wants to be like the cinematic Achilles. His Achilles knee is the product that he wants to get out to the market, and the Trojan horse are the people that they are around him. I don't know if that was also in your intentions. Thank you so much.
Well, I was saying before that I don't know if you might have to ask me a second question or part two of your question, but I love characters that have something to say, which is all of us. I love humanity, and I love the challenge that they're presented with in in trying to get their idea out. So, like, to me, Jack Flex was a superhero, and and I found it. I've made some movies about some pretty deep subjects, but to me, as I was saying before, although I didn't initially write the movie, it was the most personal movie I've ever made, because to me, The Hat was the director's cut of American History X that I would love one day, please God, to, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but to get it out there in the real world. So I was really rooting for this guy. I wanted him to win. I wanted Vito Schnabel to become bigger than Brad Pitt. I want that. I need that in my life, so that we can make movies for $300 million, $500 million. I want that. I want to work with Bella on everything. I want to work with Julia Fox on everything. And we'll come back to Rome. So if you look after us, we'll bring hundreds of billions of dollars back.
Torniamo da voi, Bella e Giulia, when and why and in which way you became part of this project, and how fun was work on this such an eccentric character, and in which way you also wrote your character with Tony and Vito.
Well, when I first read the script, it reminded me so much of one of my favorite movies, A Face in the Crowd, an Elia Kazan film. And, I related a lot to B's character, but I also related a lot to Jack's character in, wanting people to take you seriously, having something that is so precious, but, everyone just kind of doesn't see it, but you see it so clearly. And I think that's such a human experience. I think at one point in our life, we're like the only person who really believes in something, and then it takes a while for other people to catch up. So I immediately fell in love with the script, and then when I heard that Vito was going to be playing my love interest, I was like really into the script. And then, because I've known Vito from New York, we're both from New York, so he has he's like a New York legend. And so to work with him was like, oh, I have to do this, and then obviously the cherry on top, Mr. Tony Kaye, who, is just one of the most brilliant living artists of our time. And and then of course Bella, who became my favorite person on set, the best. And it was just the perfect recipe, I felt like I'd be stupid not to do it. And I think at the time it really kind of needed to escape from my life and what I had going on, so I could come to work and pretend to be someone else, and it was the best. It was like therapy. And coming to work was fun, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I have to go to work today. It was like, I get to go to work today. And Tony's one of those directors that kind of just lets you do whatever you want to do. And that to me is the best type of director. So hopefully this is the first of many.
Bella.
Yeah, so I read the script and I saw Tony's name, and I've been a big fan of Tony for a while, and I've heard quite, you know, a bit of stories of just how amazing and wacky and everything all in one he is. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about the art world at all. I'm like very stupid when it comes to all of that, so I had no idea who Vito was at all, and I got such an amazing learning lesson throughout this movie in art and creativity in all different facets, so that was incredibly exciting. I don't think I've ever worked on a movie like that before.
Ci sono domande? I will go on in English. This is a movie also about the American dream and how painful can be the American dream, and now the American dream goes through the social media, and so whoever wants to elaborate about it a little bit, maybe you can start on it if you want.
Yeah, I mean that was you know one of the fractions in Vito's mind at the beginning, and I am exhibit K, you know, A to B via Z. I since the age of 4 years old, I told kids in my school I was from the United States of America. They said they said I was a liar, you know. So I had a bit of Jack Flex going even then, and I couldn't wait to get there fast enough, and I went there to do exactly that, which is to live, which is to be successful, no matter what class you're from, and I come from a country that I love and I passionately embrace, but I grew up within a class system. You know, there was posh, and there was kind of in the middle, and then there was the worker bees, Lucianis, and yeah. So I went to live the American dream, and whatever's happened to me there, I have done just that. Didn't come in the capsule that I was planning. It came in a much better one, actually.
And Vito, can you say also something about it?
Ask the question.
The American dream and the fact that today maybe they come true only if you have the social media on your side.
Yeah, my gallery has social media. I'm not on Instagram, but you know, Jack doesn't really use social media. He's trying to find it. Yeah, he gets success that way, and I think he understands that he needs to keep leveraging. You know, he's given these kind of, it's an embarrassment of riches. His mind's blown. He's meeting John McEnroe, then he's meeting Lenny Kravitz, and all of a sudden Paris Hilton is showing up. He's like, you know, can't even believe what's happening to him, and he's also trying so hard to do this thing that he believes in so much. One of the things I love about the movie is really that the women in the film, Julia and Julia and Bella and Paris, they really are his lifeline. You know, they keep giving him a chance, and he's kind of like a bull in a china shop. You know, he can't get it out of his own way. and he doesn't even know that he's succeeding when he, finally tells the truth. There's no wrong time to tell the truth, but he picked an interesting moment to do that. But it actually is what brings him everything he thought he wanted. But I'm not even sure that, like he says in the movie, once you get there and you think you have everything that you want, it doesn't really necessarily make you feel whole inside. So it's kind of, life is about more than just the fame and the riches, because I don't know that that actually brings you happiness at the end of the day, and I was trying to...
Says you, Vito.
True, I'm just kidding.
On the social media topic with how it relates to the movie, I think that social media is a really great representation of the American dream in itself, the very highs and the very lows, and like the very small difference between the two. It's like one step over or one step back, and I think that we really watch Jack kind of experience that mentality throughout the movie again and again and again. It's like hope and downfall, hope and downfall, hope and downfall, and I think that that's a good representation of social media. Julia, you want to add something?
Well, I think, the American dream is kind of an illusion, and when you think you have it, it changes shape, and then it's something else you have to go chase. I think it's kind of like an insatiable void that always just is changing. The goalpost keeps moving. I don't know how real it really is. I think it's more of like an American nightmare, and you're kind of stuck in a rat race with yourself. And you're being fed that it's not enough, that you're not enough, that you could be better, all the ways you could better yourself, and in the end you pay for it. It doesn't just come for free. You either pay for it now or you pay for it later. So I think it's really important in life to just make art that will outlive you, and that will, I think people are so caught up with themselves, but it's not really about that. It's about what you do, what you create, what you leave for, the people that will come after you, opening doors. And, I think this film is definitely that. And it is a good representation of how in America you kind of get rewarded for not being so good. And it's pretty accurate, I think. People get famous for throwing a very famous tantrum, and then they leverage that for the rest of their life, or that's a real thing. So I think fame now is more cheap. Everyone can be famous now, but it's like, what do you do with that fame? That really matters.